Good afternoon and or evening, everybody, depending on where you are watching us from. Welcome to SpeedGaming 2 for a match here in the Zelda 1 Randomizer Random Percent Tournament. This is game one of a possible three between Alsoa on your left and Xoas19 on your right. I am the Green Infected. I will be joined here shortly by Crimson Avix. But as we are getting going here, just a couple of things to remind you all of. This is a random percent tournament. What that means is everything is selected to be 50% chance on, 50% chance off. So like the runners, we here in the commentary booth are not going to have any idea as to what is on until they discover it. So we will be doing our best to enlighten you as to what's going on while making the guesses the same as the runners are. One of the things to note with this is there is a potential to start with items. In fact, more than likely, you'll be starting with 2 items, maximum of 2. And speaking of starting with things, we also are going to be starting with some Triforces, anywhere between 0 and 8. You still need all 8 Triforces to get into level 9, but we don't know which ones we're going to start with. In addition to that, there is a bunch of other things that could potentially be on, could potentially be off, and that is things we will address when or if they become relevant here in the race at hand. No need to talk about things if they're not going to be a thing. One thing to address almost immediately here is the overworld. There are 3 potential overworld scenarios we are going to get. There is the first quest overworld, which is the one we all know and love. There is the second quest overworld, which we've all seen, and then there is a mixed quest overworld. Starting off immediately, we can tell by Xoas' side that we have got ourselves a red ring start, and based off of that pause button, we've also got a power bracelet, and every Triforce except for the top 2, which is Triforces 1 and 2, or Triforces 1 and 3 if we are doing second quest dungeons. We have a 32 rupee medium secret here, and we are starting with extra candles being on, as you can see by that blue candle there in the wood sword screen, as well as the wood sword there itself. So that did not get shuffled. So we're going to continue on here. Alsoa and Xoas both heading around to the vanilla start area. Alsoa getting a bomb drop here at the river cave. One thing of note, as you can see, we have got blank hints on, which means there's going to be no text, there's going to be no nothing. It's just going to be you walk in and you get what's in the cave. So we have found our first level here. That is going to be level 7. We do have our level markers on, so we will be able to tell what that was. Now, based upon where Alsoa entered that level 7, that tells me more than likely we are either going to be on Shapes or Vanilla First Quest for dungeons 7, 8, and 9. I say that because of the way the grid pattern works. 1 through 6 are on their own grid. 7, 8, and 9 are on another grid. We have a Take Any here, and that cave right there, that screen where Vanilla Level 3 usually is, that tells me that we are going to be on second quest overworld. Reason being, if it is the Vanilla First Quest overworld, Level 3 will be its normal brown color. If it is a mixed quest overworld, Level 3 will still have the same dungeon layout, but it will be a green color. And finally, with that specific cave, where it's a cave and not a dungeon, that means we are on second quest overworld. That gives the recorder and the power bracelet much more added value. So Xoas is going to go ahead and find that information here in just a minute. I got to probably also pick up the candle here, as Alsoa is going to continue to use this blue candle to burn the dead woods down and find ourselves some any roads, which they have been shuffled. So you're not going to find them in their normal 4 spots. You have the vanilla level 9 section in for second quest. You got one of the desert spots. That's a fun little spot to come out into, where there's a bunch of Lionel shooting sword beams at you. You got to have a little fun here.
That's your definition of fun?
Well, no, my definition of fun is max HP enemies and no more hearts, but I also like Schadenfreude. How you doing?
I'm not too bad. Finally got everything set up, so we get to do a little talking here. And so is this 0 HP enemies, or is that our assumption?
My assumption is 0 HP enemies. I can't guarantee it for sure yet, because I haven't seen anyone stab anything that couldn't be low on the scale. But for the most part, I'm going to assume 0 HP enemies. If we get a stab here at one of the Guineas, it could confirm it for us. And Elso was exactly doing that or not. I thought we were going to get a stab at a Guinea.
Nah, he's just ghosting us.
I'm glad you took the setup for that.
Anyway, Xoas is in the northeast, checking out everything up there. I mean, the lever's also rolling down, so it's very looking like 0 HP enemies right now. It's just not likely that every single enemy rolled down enough to be at 1 HP from what we've seen stabbed so far. So my guess is for playing 0 HP, and I mean, 0 HP enemies, red ring start. I mean, this is cakewalk, right?
I mean, yeah, until something crazy happens, and there is level 3, so that's going to give us some interesting information. Can't really tell much based on that start, except that you are not in second quest level 3.
Actually, the way the layout is, immediately upon entering level 3, I want to say those are vanilla shapes.
That would be my guess too. We'll be able to tell right now if we hit a pause button. Yeah, we're in either first quest or shape. So yeah, they did have every Triforce except 1 and 2. I would be willing to put money on first quest 1 through 6 as well.
Yeah, the mob one's going down here. Let's just bet on 0 HP enemies, which is really nice. And
let's also bet on a recorder as our power bracelet item, which is fantastic because, again, this is second quest overworld, so recorder does have added value.
Not only that, Alsoa is immediately putting it to use and seeing that we are whistling to original dungeons and ones that aren't complete.
No, this would be ones that are complete because that's
yes.
level 3 in second quest.
But see, and this is where the randomizer gets really confusing because even in second quest, they recorded to the first quest locations. And that's a vanilla thing.
Yes.
So, yeah, quite interesting. It's good for traversing the overworld, but not really good for getting to dungeons that you haven't completed yet. Xoas finding level 8, which is actually good information if we would perhaps need some items. Level 8, of course, having 2 or 3 key items can possibly be a very good looting spot. Even though level 1, we still need the Triforce, there's a good chance that something we may need might be in level 8.
Right. But the thing you have to remember is there's a 50% chance of Ganon not even being required for Zelda. So I like this play right now at the very early going. Yes, you still have Red Ring, but you only have Wood Sword. It's 8's a fairly large dungeon, even though it's going to be 2 items. Not necessarily looting it right away because you have the Triforce already. I don't disagree with this play. In fact, this is a gamble I would tend to make in a set like this: is go for the easy dungeons and know where the other ones are, and come back and pick up items if you need it.
Oh, I didn't say he should dig it right now. I just said it's good information to have.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Other good information to have is we've got some logs sunbathing on the coast and a heart container pickup by Xoas.
Yeah, Xoas already at 5 hearts, which typically we would say is a 66% chance of getting the white sword item, but actually it's 75% in these flags because you have a 50-50 chance of it being its default 5. So, being at 5, you cover a really good amount.
Yeah, no, and the other thing to keep in mind is Wood Sword, is White Sword its White Sword item? That's a big thing. We do have a bait purchase by Alsoa, which is interesting, considering the fact that depending on the dungeon layouts, there could be 2 potential bait blocks, there could be 1. So it's definitely an interesting purchase, especially at the 40 rupee price to pick it up fairly cheap.
Yeah, I would say if you see one and you have the rupees to spend early, I mean, you have Red Ring, you already have Candle, so buying it actually is not bad. And there we do see a upgrade. It might very well be the Magic Sword upgrade, but we know that Magic Sword and White Sword have been replaced by bomb upgrades. So we are not going to see anything other than Wood Sword, which with 0 HP enemies isn't horrible. It's only the bosses that are really going to be affected if they didn't roll down to 0 HP.
Yeah, we also saw a 130-something large secret, which is fantastic. But as you said, we've already got Candle, we've already got Red Ring, so that money is great. If it turns out this is a boomstick seed, we can buy the book, and there is a recorder pickup as well. Also, name that tune.
I don't know. I don't have my sound on.
It's Hymn of the Faith. Final Fantasy X for those who don't know what I'm talking about.
And here is level 5 over on Alsoa's side. So that is 2 Power Bracelet block dungeons found by Alsoa and Xoas. So it's quite interesting that Alsoa is choosing to dig this because 5 is relatively large and there isn't a ton of benefit. You have 1, maybe 2 key items. Really that might be the biggest piece of information is if you're going through and you see something that isn't a heart container on the floor.
Unfortunately, bosses decided they were going to roll not 0 HP, so those blue land molas are still as thick and annoying as ever. Also, we have an alert. Or Pete, we have an alert. We have math in the chat. We have math in the chat.
Yes, just correcting me earlier. It's not 75, it is 83%, but yeah, so we have Alsoa going through and checking the desert recorder spots. One of the many areas that have recorder spots, and look at that, we have a recorder block dungeon.
Level 4. So not required to explore on the fact of needing the Triforce, but could potentially be required to get an item.
Dude, you're being called out. They want to know where the puns are.
I mean,
I will say that I have already punned. You have not.
You have already punned. Look, maybe I'm. What people don't know is I've spun my chair around to do this commentary, so I'm in a completely different facing. So I'm doing my best to turn over a new leaf.
No, you're not.
I mean, it's the best I got right now. I mean, but yeah, we do have the confirmation with some Gibdos and some Likes dying in one hit. We do have our 0 HP, and there is a heart container on the floor. Interesting, Alsoa opting to not pick it up.
The reason Alsoa may have opted against it is right now, of course, we don't know if the white sword item is shuffled at all. And right now, Alsoa is sitting at 3 hearts. So by leaving the heart container on the ground, any up A gives him sword beams.
And since the infinite sword beams is not on, that's a really good thing right now. Also, T-Room here, you can tell by what the key spot.
Yeah, actually, I really like to play from Alsoa. Until you confirm that you absolutely need the hearts for the white sword item. Having the sword beams, you're really not playing with fire until you fight Ganon, and let's face it, fire is very useful for Bacon anyway, so I really like the play of just sticking at 3 hearts for right now and keeping those beams on up A.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. It makes things a lot easier being able to just, sword beam anything down, because one shot will kill anything that's not a boss in this seed. Wizrobes, Lionels, bunnies, you name it, the sword's got. Also, I'm pretty sure, based on what I'm seeing bits and pieces of in the chat, that the lack of puns and added math has divided them.
Well, there we see our other upgrade, and this is, well, we don't know which one is the magic sword and the white sword, because the white sword item is indeed 6 hearts. Zoa's checking both of the upgrades at 5 hearts, neither of them took, so we do know it is a 6-heart white sword upgrade. We just don't know which one it is, but that is good news for Alsoa, because that also means that he does not need to get any hearts at all.
And there is a fantastic find. One room above the Triforce in 3. We've got ourselves the wad.
So that aforementioned boomstick seed that you had talked about earlier would be very, very nice now for our runners because, well, the wand is very easily accessible.
So continuing on making beautiful music in the desert while continuing to explore up in the northeast as well. Now, here is a question for you, Krim. We've seen that the whistle, or the recorder, whatever you want to call it, is sending you to dungeons you've already beaten. But it's also sending you to their vanilla locations. Is this a thing where you blow the whistle to check the raft spot? To get that out of the way?
Not this early when I still have a lot of exploration to do. Now, if I'm short on spots and I don't have ladder yet to get the raft, then yes, I may consider that. But right now, when you still have a lot of spots to check, that's a lot of screen transitions and waiting for the recorder just to check one spot. And you have to blow the recorder twice because, of course, you have to get back off the island.
I mean, you don't have to get off the island. It only depends if the tribe votes you off.
Trust me, if it's you, everyone's voting you off.
No, they're keeping me around because I'm not a physical threat.
And Alsoa deciding not to take the heart, and then he's like, oh yeah, that's right, potions are still available. So goes back in and does grab it from that.
Right, and not a bad choice there considering we still haven't confirmed that we are on First Quest 7, 8, and 9 yet, which means red bubbles could still be a thing, and the potion is one of the few things in the game that does get rid of the red bubble curve.
Yeah, just looking at the layout of where Alsoa just came in at level 8 and where the doors are and everything, I'm thinking this may also be First Quest. Just by the location, it looks like he came in on the left side of the line.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that.
The Dodongo deciding Alsoa was not going to bomb the wall on the first try.
Well, if we needed any more confirmation we were in non-shapes, that dark room is going to confirm it because dark rooms do not exist in shapes. So yeah, we are pretty much on a First Quest full setup, and there is level 1, which is an absolute good find for Xoas over there.
Yeah, also finding the Triforce in level 8, which is absolutely not necessary. So it's just going to continue on, going to beam down some land mola and continue looking for these items. And there's the Patra, so that's no.
Well, the one thing to keep in mind yet is we have not confirmed that Heart Shuffle is on or off yet. So, I mean, I always go into the seed if I'm playing a flag set like this, assuming Heart Shuffle is off, but we haven't confirmed it yet. And the reason I say we haven't confirmed it yet is because we've only seen one item on a floor, which was a heart container in level 4. So, again, assume it's off, but understand that that could still be a thing.
Absolutely. Xoas running into a key block, so with all this extra money, why not buy keys?
Yes, and a convenient, handy location.
But that wasn't a wall master. That was just a merchant.
Okay, they can't all be gems.
No, but they can all be rupees.
You can't hear me sighing heavily right now.
Hey, it's about time I broke you.
No. You're not breaking me at all. I'm just sighing heavily that this is what we've devolved into.
So Alsoa is spending quite a bit of time here digging out level 8, trying to find these items. First gets trapped with the pattern, now gets trapped with the Goma. We do see a book on the ground in level 1, so that means Boomstick is off.
I would still be picking up that book on the off chance it is the Atlas and gives access to all the maps. Not that you necessarily need it when you are in full first quest shapes, but knowing where you are in dungeons 7 and 9 is still a huge help. I personally would be picking up the book here, especially if you're Xoas, because you don't have the wand yet.
I would not be, just in case I found the wand on Xoas' side. I know first, as a runner, me personally, I know first quest well enough that I'm not going to sacrifice dealing with fire from a wand to look at a first quest level on the minimap.
No, and that's perfectly fair. Like I said, this is one of those things where this style of tournament does lend itself to many different play styles here. I know somebody wanted level 1 to be hands-on. This is about as hands-on as you're going to get.
Well, level 1 and level 8 are both doing pretty much the same thing, and they're just trying to avoid showing you the rooms where items actually are as much as possible. But I think we both have possible room on Alsoa's and Xoas' side. Yes, we do. One is the power bracelet, repeat. The other is the red ring, repeat. So these are great items so far.
Hey, I mean, sometimes you just have to be reminded of what you have so you can be more appreciative of what you're going to get.
I feel like you're trying to like edge on you don't know what you got till it's gone type sing along there, which I'm not going to contribute to.
I actually wasn't going for a sing-along at all, but if you want to encourage a sing-along, I am absolutely down for it.
Just remember, I have muting powers here.
You know, you keep threatening me with that. It's an empty threat at this point.
Until I actually do it.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna know, so...
Well, that's not a room you want to see on Alsoa's side. Potentially blocking off the last item there is that Chevy room, so he is just going to elect to leave level 8 after spending quite a bit of time in there looking for items.
Yeah, and unfortunately getting no returns on just the duplicate power bracelet.
I mean, really, outside of the 1 and 3, we haven't really seen anything too great. The recorder hasn't been beneficial other than leading you into level 4, so maybe ladder's there and we actually have some benefit out of an item that we've gotten already.
I mean, potentially, but at this point you have to be under the assumption that ladder is just a thing. Speaking of things, how about level 9? I die on that screen way too many times than I care to admit. The one that level 9 is on there.
Yes, we know. You don't have to admit it, we all know it.
Look, I'm admitting nothing, except for the fact that I learned how to play Zelda Randomizer watching you, so any of my bad habits I picked up, well...
So right now it's just a lot of overworld exploration, a lot of speechless men.
And I bet you're wishing I was one of them, right?
As I said, I can always do that. And also learning that no matter what, 3 hearts is never going to be enough to get that item.
But 3 hearts is all he's going to need, perhaps.
So Zos over here in the Dead Woods, trying to scroll over to the grave. If you can set up the scroll, it's nice to be able to skip all those transitions of northeast, southeast, but yep, and is able to do it. Once again, if you're not really used to any of the Legend of Zelda randomizer stuff, the seed is completely completable without having to do any screen scrolling, block clipping, or anything like that. So while they are nice tools, I mean, people have been very proficient at this game without screen scrolling, block clipping. So,
and Krim, if you're going to give people directions, make sure you give them the correct direction.
West, northwest, south.
Yes. And this is why you never ask Crimson Ethics for directions, everybody.
No, this is what happens when you screen scroll and you don't really think about the direction that you're heading in when you do it. I know in my head I'm going the right direction.
Yeah, it's like how do you get there? I have no idea. Just trust me, I know where I'm going.
No, it's the whole, you go to the 4th tree and make a left, and then, go down the road until you see another tree, and then you'll take a right there.
Yeah, and hopefully Mrs. Studebaker's got her chairs out, because you're going to take a left at the Adirondacks.
Why are we visiting Rick?
Why aren't we visiting Rick? Well, I know why we're not visiting Rick right now. We kind of can't.
So, Alsoa has found level 1 and is going to be searching for the book and the red ring and the Triforce.
And
I guarantee he only wants one of those.
Yeah. Because he has one. And apparently nobody wants to take a look in the book.
I told you. Book is not something I would consider right.
Just because you told me doesn't mean I listened.
Well, that's nothing surprising. We do have Exo, I guess I should call them Exo because that's what they prefer. Exo is up here in Death Mountain, still looking for level 2. The ever-evasive moon.
Well, of course it's going to be harder to find. It's just a crescent moon.
If it's a crescent moon, can't we just ask Mario where it's at?
I mean, if we want to go on an Odyssey, absolutely.
Oh, speaking of level 2, it is here in all of its fluorescent fuchsia glory.
That's a dungeon color.
I could tell you what the inspiration to this dungeon was, but I mean, you can probably guess it yourself.
No, please, go ahead.
This was actually inspired as part of the original Valentine's race, and that's a any key.
That is a excellent find. And I honestly never would have guessed Valentine's race.
Well, purple and pink are two very common Valentine colors, so we also have all 8 Triforces on Exo's side, so he knows where 9 is. We may see a quick play to see if Silvers and Bow are required.
I mean, we know that Red Ring and Silvers haven't been forced into 9. But yeah, I 100% agree with you. I dip into 9 here because that information, you happen to walk in, oh, hey, look, there's a surprise Zelda. Boom. Seed done.
Not only that, but I mean, there's still a very decent chance that Silvers are in 9 as well. So I mean, there's really no reason not to make the play. Also, and I should know better because I'm actually in the tournament, but isn't it possible that both could have been forced into level 9? I think important items can find their way into level 9 in these seeds.
They certainly can be, with the caveat that because you there could be a dungeon where you would need the bow to get the Triforce out of it, but because you start with the Triforce, it could, in theory, force bow to 9 in a scenario like that.
Right, right. I mean, as long as Gomo isn't required to get to any Triforces or any other key items required to get to those Triforces, such as ladder, yeah, it is very possible. So we might see both bow, arrow in 9, and then find out that Ganon's not required anyway.
Or you could have a seed where you have to bomb through Ganon to get the silver arrows.
Hey, that was fun. It was
I'm not saying that I was cackling the entire time watching it, but I was cackling the entire time watching it.
And Alsoa does find level 9 as well. Is going to have to continue on because he's still yet to find level 2.
Yes, but knowing where 9 is, especially in seeds where the recorder does some funky things for you, that's always a good thing to know. That's literally half the issue with these seeds is you have half the items you need. You still got to go around and find them. And speaking of having items you need, how about a compass in 9?
That is probably the best item Exo could have found right now because he can make an immediate run up here.
Oh.
And the shutter is not open. I would have cleared out that room just to see if it is possible that, you know, that was just a shutter door that would happen to go into Zelda's. But I do believe that there's that if there's ever a shutter, that it will always be gated by Ganon.
Right. I can understand why you wouldn't clear that room though, because you didn't go in with sword beams, and that was Wizrobes in a vertical shoot. So it's definitely a little bit more difficult to clear that without having some sort of projectile weapon that can kill the Wizrobes, and the only one that can do that is sword.
Yeah, but they're 0 HP, so that makes it a little bit better.
Yeah, there is one other bit of information that shoot room shutter door tells us. That, of course, being Zelda is not in her room.
Right. So I do like the strategy that Exo is using as well right here. You'll see him pausing a lot, and that's actually to gather his bearings on the minimap of where each staircase is taking him, so he knows exactly where his paths are leading.
Yeah, and that can be the hardest thing when it comes to mapless tracking, is getting your bearings. The good thing to note is that on the 8x8 grid, each one of those 8x8 sections or sections corresponds to the spots over there on your HUD. The top 2 levels correspond to the rupee, then levels 3 and 4 to the blank spots, 5 and 6 to the key, and 7 and 8 to the bomb. So that is your horizontal reference point.
Unfortunately, not getting bombs there from the Wizrobes, only having 2 bombs. Resource management is kind of important. Also gonna find level 2 here in a very quick second.
Yeah, and with that, I mean, he did pick up the Triforce out of level 1 earlier, so getting the Triforce, any key out of here, wouldn't surprise me if Alsoa also decided to drop a dig into level 9.
Exo gonna remember, oh yeah, that's the shoot room. So, quick exit there. And going to continue to run around and try to find where the path is that you need to go.
Oh, those bombs are certainly going to help.
Yeah, I think Exo has cleared out most of this northeast section So really has to try to get over into the western side of level 9. See, my directions are correct. And there is a red candle. So that is one of the possible items. And that tells us that bow and arrows will not be in level 9. Arrows still may be. Bow still may be, but not both.
Absolutely. And also, one thing we may have missed over there, Krim, but we did hear a little.
Yes, well, I don't have sound, so yes, I will miss that 100% of the time. And Exo still deciding to go north here. Probably has a few more areas wants to check out before heading west.
And Alsoa going to be making his way into level 9 as well. So both of our runners in level 9. Now the trouble is to figure out which way is the right way. Is Ganon required? Statistically, we think yes. Although Exo did manage to go west, young Link, so we are in the other half of the dungeon.
Very aggressively trying to find a way back up to where the location where Zelda is, just to hopefully find another path.
I mean, at this point, I would still be aggressively killing any room that could be a staircase. Simply the simple fact of, you know, if Ganon's required, you have to leave the dungeon. So if you find the second item, fantastic. You now know you don't have to dig 9.
Wow. Ganon is a definite fan of shoot rooms in his level 9 layout today.
Either that or Ganon just left his Tetraminos lying around.
So here's the really intriguing part about all of this is we're assuming with a very good chance that Ganon is required just because we did see a shutter door around Zelda. And we've already seen one of the items here in 9. We've seen both items in 1. We believe the other item is ladder blocked in 8. The only 2 dungeons that we have found that we don't know the items in is level 4 and level 5. We still don't know where 6 is. We still don't know where 7 is.
We did find 7. Alsoa going to confirm for us that Ganon is in fact required. But also remember, I wasn't going to say the recorder is going to take us to dungeons, but it only is taking it back to their vanilla location, so we can't even use that. And I think we did find 7 bright and early. 7 is, I'm pretty sure we found that. I want to say it's the potion shop, right above vanilla 3.
I'm not sure. I didn't see it. That's probably when I was doing all my
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was in the middle of my monologue.
I can't believe it, but I will say that I trust you on that.
Can somebody clip that so I can have it for later, please?
Only on that, nothing else. And Exo is now leaving level 9. Not sure if it's because of the lack of the bombs or if he says, okay, I have enough information at this point, I need to get out of here and start looking elsewhere.
And we're going to start at level 7. Which is, you know, always fun, starting at the tippity top here of this 33-room monstrosity.
Well, there's some of the bombs that he needed.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. That was a fantastic room grab for him. Going to be interesting to see if the bomb upgrade ended up being shift or not, because if not, there could be a bomb upgrade hiding here in level 7 for him as well, and he absolutely has the money to pick it up.
Yeah, we also see on Alsoa's side there that Ganon is accessible from all 3 directions there on the right side. So that means there will be no bombing out of his room to get to something hidden. And also decides to join Exo here in level 7.
All right, so a question that was asked in chat that I think we might need to go into a little more detail over was about recording to vanilla dungeon locations when there's no dungeons there. So, a couple of things happening. There is a flag enabled in the randomizer that allows the recorder to take you to either 3 different locations: completed dungeons and their new locations, unfinished dungeons, and then you have the option of keeping the locations the same. Basically, when we say locations the same, where their locations would be in first quest. And in this case, what we have on for this particular seed is recorder to beaten dungeons, but don't take you to their new locations, as we saw by the recorder.
It wasn't beaten dungeons. We're on first quest dungeons, and when they recorded, they went to level 2. So it was unbeaten dungeons. It was unbeaten dungeons.
Oh, it was unbeaten dungeons, you're right.
So the recorder will not benefit them at all now. Also, very laggy room here on Alsoa's side. Now, since it is a dark room, that will not be a room where you can push for the item. If it would be an open room, like the corridor staircase or something, then it could be dark, but at least in all my experiences, I don't think I've ever had a push block to an item.
Nope, but we did have a bomb upgrade up in the nose here, and yeah, it's vanilla price, vanilla bomb upgrade, but, you know, we talk a lot about the names of the vanilla maps, right, Krim? Like, we debate, it's not hard to see that level 4 is a snake, level 2 is a moon, things like that. Level 7 gets a lot of debate because in the manual, or in all the media, this is the demon. Yes?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's now Honk.
Exactly. That's exactly where I was going. It only took us 30 years, but we now figured out that they knew 30 years ago that a demon was just a goose.
So, the interesting thing here is how much time both runners have spent in here trying to look for this item, and we still have a little bit to explore yet, and Alsoa almost just walked right over that heart container.
I don't think he's ever been happier to get bopped by a boomerang.
Honestly, I don't know what parts of 7 we haven't explored yet, but this Aquamanus room is a very good candidate, possibly. Yeah, this is going to be. Oh no, that's where you came out. Okay.
That's the other end of the staircase.
Yeah, I'm lost. I mean, it's typical in level 7 for that to be the case, but
I mean, yeah, I am too. But just what do those numbers mean if you're lost?
Did you really just go with the lost numbers?
I did. I mean, they are a community hint after all.
Yeah. I asked Fred to add them in.
All right, so Lime Juice 100 in chat. Why does Alsoa only have 3 hearts? Because the enemies all roll 0 HP. So the only thing you would need more damage for is the bosses. The sword upgrades are both bomb upgrades. So 3 hearts on 0 HP enemies means every time he resets to the beginning of a dungeon, he will be able to have sword beams.
Yeah, and also actually choosing not to go zombie link there, but does find possibly our item room.
5 here as both runners in the room at the same time. Going to go down the stairs at the same time and be rewarded with the bow at the same time.
We still have to find swords, though. So now the question is, do you go back to 9? Or do you return to level 4, level 5? Or, search for level 6? Me, personally, I look for level 4. I go back to level 4 right now.
I do too. And it looks like our runners are agreeing, which is weird, which means it's clearly the wrong decision.
I mean, I said it before they even did that, so, yeah, it was already the wrong decision. Actually, Alsoa is going back to level 5 first.
Well, it does make a little bit sense for Alsoa to go to 5 because he did do a little bit of exploring in this 5. Not a lot necessarily, but he did do some. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Alsoa did also do a little exploring in 4. So it could be that Alsoa has information that we might have missed, like a ladder block, for example.
Yeah, either that or level 5 was, you know, technically closer than level 4, so do this one first.
I mean, they're technically closer in the sense of they're, what, 2 screens apart?
Hey, closer is closer. Frames matter.
You know by now it's always kill the animals.
Yes, they've already killed the bunnies.
Exactly. And the dragons.
I wouldn't kill this dragon, actually. This is a room that won't have a drop unless second quest rooms are on.
Alsoa nearly getting hearted again there, having to clip to avoid it.
Yeah, unless second quest rooms would be on, the dragon actually could have been left to hoard his gold, which Alsoa now having to sneak around that heart. But possible item here on Exo side.
Yeah,
oh no, that was the heart.
Yeah,
that was the heart that...
It's an item.
Oh, and the other bomb upgrade. So bomb upgrades stayed in their vanilla dungeons. And Alsoa now with a nice set of 16 bombs. Oh, by the way, this is a required dragon. Possibly. Oh no, never mind. We can get out and around him.
Why you gotta go dragging things down like that, huh, Krim? No, it's a required dragon because we don't have a ladder.
Okay, this is a little better now.
Oh, speaking of required, we might have an arrow block in 5.
Okay, we know where silvers are now.
Ooh, I love this! And Alsoa just used all of his money on bomb upgrades.
Okay, he's going to potentially be able to get over to the other side. Yes. So Goma is unfortunately not required.
Oh, well, that's disappointing.
Don't have to get crabby about it, Teach.
What can I say? I'm just a little pinchy, that's all.
But Alsoa decides to go and trap himself in that room.
Well, Alsoa was just, heading back down there and letting the Goma know that he did in fact bring the Old Bay seasoning, so the crab needs to behave.
I actually don't have a problem with Alsoa up-Aing there. It's only a couple of extra rooms to go, and now he gets his beam swords back, so the up-A is actually not bad, and we have our potential item room here on Exo's side, fighting these keys. Slowly fighting these keys.
Careful about it, too.
And we get... well, that is a bunch of trash.
I am firmly now on Team Alsoa.
Alsoa would make the same decision. Alsoa is now a zombie.
Yep.
So naturally, 4 would not have anything good.
Ooh.
And wow.
Wow.
Those spawn frames working out well for Alsoa, and the fact that he does have one will make these like very easy. And all the way over in the very tooth here, we have, well, something that Alsoa definitely doesn't want to see.
The heart container. So, yeah. That means we're either... wow, that means we're either in 6, Or ladders in 6. This is good.
Well, Exo found 6, so you're digging 6 regardless.
You have to at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you're hoping that this is early item.
Because I don't believe Exo has found 5 yet, so I'm definitely going to spend the time to search through here. We know it's going to be a boon item either way.
I mean, it pretty much has to be at this point.
Well, yeah, we've seen pretty much everything else. We've seen both items in 1, Red Ring and both. We've seen the item in 2, the Anti Key, item in 3, the wand, item in 4, the boomerang.
Krim, hear me out here, because I want this to happen. Remember how you mentioned important items could be in?
The problem is, I know what you're thinking about ladder being in 9 and needing the ladder to get to key item in 8. But we would have to go back and physically think. And I believe one of the Triforces was ladder blocked. I believe the one in level 7 was ladder blocked.
But you started with the 7th Triforce.
The logic doesn't account for that. The logic accounts that you have to still be able to access all Triforces, even if you already have them in your inventory at the start.
Fair enough. I knew it didn't account for it on one end. I wasn't sure if it accounted for it on the other.
No, because that would have been a lot more logic Fred would have pulled his hair out with. So, ladder will not be in level 9. However, ladder could be in level 6, and silvers could still be in level 8.
Right, which is in this case the best case scenario for us here.
And here is the item in level 6, and we have... Oh!
Ladder.
That means ladder's in level 8.
And
there's some way to access it that Alsoa did not find.
You know what it was? I think I remember seeing Alsoa's map. Yeah, you know the 4 starting rooms at the bottom of level 8? The one on the far right he never went into. I think it might have been key blocked.
That's very interesting. And Alsoa is heading back, or Exo is heading back to level 8. Alsoa is looking for level 6 right now. So Exo is in a very good spot here because, I mean, he's gonna search this out. He may head back to level 3 if he gets stuck here, but I can't imagine him getting stuck to the point where he would want to leave.
Yeah, no, this is very intriguing.
And of course, naturally, any early staircase you come by in any dungeon is going to just be a transport.
Or it's going to have an item you don't need.
Like the boomerang.
I mean, early on in this seed, you absolutely want that. 0 HP enemies?
Yeah, but we didn't get any of that early. So Exo is heading down to the base of the line key here, and it is a key door. Do we have our...
Yep.
Ooh, it is a reverse C.
There it is, right there. Yeah, Alsoa didn't have keys when he came over here.
So this is going to be the ladder for Exo. I imagine he's still going to hang out in here until he finds that second wonderful power bracelet. And Alsoa finding level 6. So it's going to do a little searching to be quite disappointed once again.
Yeah, with that ladder in 8, Xoas can't confirm that silvers are in 9 because he still hasn't gotten the item out of 3, which is the wall.
Yeah, fortunately for Exo, and you'll probably correct me if I'm wrong here, but I do believe this starting screen was over in that forest area, so getting to 3 isn't going to be that far from an up A for Exo.
Honestly, I can't remember where the starting screen was. It's been a while, so I'm just going to say sure. I'll agree with you. I'm not sure why I'm blindly doing it, but I'll agree.
And Alsoa, once again, narrowly avoiding picking up a heart. Exo killing some dark nuts here. The wand. One thing that the wand has done for Alsoa is that it has given him the ability to not have to worry about all the bubbles that have been roaming around these dungeons. Exo choosing not to pick up either boomerang, and I know I give you a hard time about the boomerang, but only having a blue candle as your other weapon definitely does add some difficulty if you get bubbled to clearing out these rooms quickly.
Yeah, no, 100%. And we've also seen that wand being put to use when he was in zombie mode there, as well as being able to use it to avoid having to walk over things and grab a heart container. So it has been of immense use here for Alsoa.
I believe this was... Oh no, that was the shutter room. This may have been the room where the blue boomerang is.
Nope, that's the other path. The blue boomerang was a single block.
Ah, that is right.
Oh no, it was I'm like, wait, I'll still grab the heart. No, that was Zoas grabbing the heart. I'm getting my screens confused here. Don't mind me.
We never do. And Alsoa is on a mission, just trying to get through these rooms as quickly as possible. Once again, going into zombie link mode.
Zombie link, one of my favorite strats.
And Alsoa finally in this room. Luckily getting that heart container because it does take a bob, and Exo finds the power bracelet, Alsoa finds the blue boomerang, and neither runner is happy.
Nope, I can imagine some of the words being thought of right now are more like words I can't pronounce. So interesting, Alsoa making his way back to 9, coming to the conclusion that we have drawn that silvers are going to be in here. Gambling on ladder not being required to get to them, whereas Xoas still has to go in to 5 and 3 to confirm that.
Yeah, Alsoa knows at this point all the information about locations. He knows that the ladder has to be in level 8, and yeah, as you said, just gambling on the fact that he may not. Exo going to be digging for a little bit here in level 5. Now, he'll be able to get the heart containers and will increase his health, but really not a huge boon at all. So it's more of a time sink here, and especially knowing where the heart item is. I mean, really the biggest benefit he's going to have is the fact that he headed up here right away.
Yeah, you're not wrong 100% in that case here. We're going to find ourselves another staircase on Alsoa's side, and at this point, it is just a matter of time. The early mapping that was done is going to definitely help out Alsoa in this hunt. Unfortunately, that path respawning not helping out Exo at all.
No, and one room north of that item, so that's very frustrating. And it actually may take him longer to get back up there. I don't know how much of the bottom he has explored, so could actually be quite a bit longer for him to get up there. Also, finding a possible water block, we'll see. We'll see if you can navigate around it.
Oh, this staircase gives us some cause for some hope here. And it's going to work. Well, that's going to bring us to the complete opposite side.
No hope.
That's bringing us to Ganon.
And Zoa finding one of those sword or bomb upgrades, but 10 rupees short here. So not going to be able to grab it. So we have Alsoa hunting around where Exo was earlier. We've seen most of this northeast area cleared out. I gotta say, up in the northwest is really where we want to be checking. Maybe the southwest too. I don't know how much of that was searched.
Not a whole lot, but the potential of having to deal with that ladder block. So, unless we can find another way up to the northwest, that's a thing.
Well, the room that he took that brought him back over to this right side of level 9, it did have I believe a shutter door, it may have been a key door, going north, so you may have been able to go up and left.
No, because it was directly south of Zelda.
Oh, was he at that point?
Yeah, that staircase was directly south of Zelda.
Then yeah, may have to look for a bomb wall or something else.
You know, this has been a thing, a seed that, and this has been really a staple of this tournament here, as you get a seed that looks fairly innocuous on the outside, and then there's just that one little hiccup that throws everything into complete disarray here, and it turns from a fairly benign race to this is fantastic.
Yeah, and really, it's going to be on the gamble of Alsoa knows all of his information and decided to go back to level 9, hoping that there was no need for the ladder, and Exo is hunting out every dungeon and has a ladder. So is Alsoa going to find that he's completely ladder blocked and going to bite and leave before Exo gets back, or is Exo going to get back to 9 and be able to get to the locations that Alsoa can't right now?
Yeah, the other thing to keep in mind here is the fact that if Exo does end up having to leave, or sorry, if Alsoa ends up having to leave, he knows the one thing he's missing. He knows exactly where he has to go.
Right. Exo does find the next to the last piece of information, grabs the heart container, but is in full knowledge that level 5 doesn't have what he needs. So it's going to be, he is heading back to level 3 right now, and then we'll be in no mode that level 9 does absolutely have the silver arrows.
Yeah, and at that point, he will have the advantage with that ladder. So every second Alsoa doesn't find the path is a continuation here of not a continuation, but it is giving Exo more and more time to get back into this.
And I don't believe level 3's item was too difficult to get to either. So we'll see how quickly Exo can stumble across that wand. I imagine you still pick up the wand at this point, especially snubbing the boomerangs earlier. Having that little bit of extra distance firing to be able to use against enemies is always going to be nice.
I mean, and the good thing about level 3 here is it's a fairly small dungeon, so it's going to be in, out, good, gone.
I feel like that's a restaurant slogan.
Only if you get an animal style.
Possibly another, just another staircase for Elso. I actually don't know which ones we haven't checked yet, so, yeah, we'll just continue watching Elso, try to find any way to navigate over to that other area.
There's a key door north.
This could potentially be a staircase, too?
He's taken this one already. He's already been shown. There's the wand
Okay.
for Exo. So now no mode has happened over there. Alsoa is continuing his way through, has at least made some progress. And hey, if you're going to enter a tea room, that's the ladder. That's the side you want to enter from.
Except you don't want to have that directly north of you.
No.
So both of our runners have the same exact knowledge. Exo has that one extra, potentially key item here, but also does find a little bit more potential direction that he can go here.
And we have another potential staircase room here. And there it is.
Silvers. So
Wow.
Alsoa lucking out, not needing the ladder here. Exo going to have to get over there, but Alsoa already knowing all the information, where he needs to go to get to Ganon, where he needs to go to get to Zelda. It's going to... I mean, really the big question now is Ganon horrible enough to get 3 hits in on Alsoa? Or I should say 9 hits, because Alsoa has 2 potions.
Also,
but can he do enough damage to Alsoa to take him out before Exo?
Couple of things to point out as well. Ganon could have shuffled to 0 HP. Number 2, Ganon is in a double river room, so that could make things a little tricky. And number 3, the one thing we haven't talked about yet, Zelda could still be in a room with water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've seen Zelda plenty in Chevy rooms, but Chevy rooms will be the only room that will actually prevent Alsoa from rescuing Zelda, because we do know she has access from the right and from the south.
Right, we can't access her from the right because it's in a vertical shoot room.
Oh, that is correct. All right. So from the south, really, okay,
River.
Yeah, double river and the Chevy.
Yes, there's all kinds of things. So Xoas999 is in the hunt to find these silvers. Alsoa is in the hunt to remember, how did I get to the pig?
He's probably also looking for the path that allows you to come in from the left. Remember, Ganon is accessible from the left, the north, and the south. So you want to come in from the left because of that double river run, because that's the only way Alsoa is going to be able to actually defeat Ganon and collect the Triforce without it being an absolute nightmare. But is going to come in from the south. This is going to be a very tricky Triforce grab.
It is. Got super lucky there.
Or you can have Ganon spawn exactly where you need for that.
Wow. Like, sometimes, yeah. Like, there's the 0 HP Ganon I was talking about. Got the perfect spawn. Like, you can't craft it any better than that.
Yeah, I mean, 0 HP Ganon is what really made that nice, because with the stun lock, you're really not going to see Ganon come far enough south in that room to be able to easily crowd the Triforce like that. You can actually clip and grab it still and stuff like that, but that just made it a lot easier, because if you would not be able to grab that Triforce, you would actually have to up A out of the room. Because there would be no way of actually escaping the room until you get the Triforce.
Yep, and now, of course, comes the moment of truth. Is Zelda going to be in a room that is accessible without the ladder?
We're about 2 rooms away from finding out, so Exo's still on the hunt for those silver arrows. Very low health right now, too, so has to be a little bit careful.
Alright, moment of truth time. Here is Zelda's room, and oh, nope, it's just a desert room. We are good.
And that will do it. Alsoa is going to finish in first place with a time of 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 5 seconds.
Yeah, that honestly felt a lot longer than just an hour and 10.
Well, yeah, it felt a lot longer because, I mean, we were in 9 at, what, 35 minutes? And we also do have Alsoa in here with us. GG.
Thank you.
So that crazy gamble there to not go back to 8 for the ladder and just hope that you could find the silvers in 9 without it.
So I'm gonna be brutally honest. I missed a stair somewhere in 8 because I thought the second item was ladder blocked and was going to be silvers. So I was looking up for a ladder in 9 and found silvers on accident.
Fair.
Yeah, the ladder in 8 was actually in the bottom 4 rooms on the very right side. We think that you were actually key blocked at that point from getting in there, so...
Yes, I was. And I did, and I never went back because I'm like, okay, there's a ladder block, I'm leaving. Ladder might have made Ganon a little bit less interesting, though.
Yeah, so that's going to be the question I have. Going into that from the bottom, seeing the double river room, first of all, what do you think when you start that? And then, how much relief was it when Ganon's like, oh, hi, I got 0 HP?
Well, my thought is if I go in along the bottom, I can get the semi-sunlock down along that bottom row to make getting the Triforce easier. And then when I saw it was 0 HP, I actually panicked ever so slightly because half of it was in the wall, and I thought the Triforce was going to spawn on the wall and I'd have to up it.
Yeah, I think with the spawn you would have been okay. It's really the rivers that cause issues, but I mean, really worked out into your favor. And then you know, TG's over here saying, well, you know, let's hope for water block Zelda or something like that. But luckily, nothing too horrible there. Just a sand room.
And at that point, I would have known ladder was an 8, and I would have just gone and bashed my head against every wall until I saw that locked door that I never went through and just bashed my head against my desk.
All right, so you did take race 1. You have another one coming up against XO with, of course, his Loser's Remorse flag on. So, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. I would assume that you are too.
Yes. It's currently not scheduled. As far as I know, the plan is not to do it tomorrow with the, tons of other races.
Yeah, that's for sure. Definitely a ton of other races coming up.
I'd also like to give a thank you to Redbird Grad for putting the bow in 7.
Wait, he couldn't have put it there. He wouldn't know it's there.
GG.
What? I didn't roll the seed.
Yeah, that was totally me.
I mean, if I had rolled the seed, I would have put bow in 9 and silver's locked behind a Goma so you had to go double dip 9. That's what I would have done.
Yeah, I buy that. And the boomerang would have been what was in 7.
Oh, of course. No, you would have started with the yellow boomerang.
So the red ring in 1 was the, well, now I get to go look for silvers everywhere. I'm just gonna go gamble 9 everywhere anyway.
Yeah, I mean, with the start that you had, with 5 Triforces, the 5 difficult Triforces, Red Ring, we saw you implementing the 3 heart strat throughout, which was a close call on many different occasions. But I said that, with the items that you found in the levels that you dug, that was 100% the right call to make, because you're at least getting all that other information there with searching for Ganon and to see if Zelda is, just a free walk-in without having to kill Ganon. So definitely the right play. And then, of course, we find out that nothing's in there, and we do a full clear of the seed anyway.
I was immediately relieved when I saw that the white sword item was nothing required, because that told me, okay, you don't have to go back to 7, 5, 1, 4, whatever dungeons had really quick heart containers to just go pick those up.
Absolutely. Well, one thing I did want to mention quick, just for everyone hanging out here, because you did mention about tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun, but we have 3 more races slated for today. We have Kestrel and Dracia at 10 o'clock on Randomania 3, as well as Such as Link and Chrono JJ on Randomania 4. And then we have the Alan Heffley and Sharky here on SpeedGaming 2 at 11:30. And then tomorrow we have about 15 games between SpeedGaming and Randomania. So if you are not part of it, go ahead and join the Discord at Z1 Discord. It's z1r.games/Discord, and you will be able to check the schedule out for all the races as they get scheduled. So looking forward to all of this.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be fun. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be fun.
Do you have any more questions for Alsoa before we get out of here?
No, I think we covered them all.
You have anything else to add, Alsoa?
No, not particularly. Just looking forward to game 2.
All right, well, we all are too. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and let your lasting image of this race be TGE's voice. So, TGE, take away.
I'm not sure how a lasting image can be my voice. I think you're crossing the streams there. But anyway, first things first, if you have not done so already, please give both of our runners a follow. !R in the chat if you are still watching this live. Give both of our runners a follow. They absolutely deserve it. Also, shout-outs to our tracker behind the scenes who makes all of these pretty pictures and colors appear so you guys know what's going on. That, of course, being Eat My Steel 1, so shout-outs there as well. So, on behalf of the entire team at SpeedGaming, both of our runners, Alsoa and Xoas19, our tracker, Eat My Steel, and my broadcast partner, Crimson Avix, I am the Green Leaf Effect, signing off and reminding everybody to, of course, as always, keep hailing.